Chapter 2. Double Standards. In 1993, a man in Australia named David Ridsdale called a priest named George Pell on the phone. He wanted to tell him something he had been keeping inside for a very long time. During that phone conversation, David mustered up the courage to share something very dark. He had been sexually abused by a priest that they both knew when he was a child. The priest who abused him was his uncle, Gerald Ridsdale. A few months after that phone call, George Pell did something truly cruel. He was filmed walking side by side with pedophile Gerald Ridsdale to his court date. Gerald was charged with raping 8 boys. The moment horrified victims. Pell was a very high-ranking Catholic in Australia. He was a bishop and said he did it to influence the ruling. By having a bishop accompany Gerald to court, it had the potential to reflect positively on Gerald, and he could possibly get a lighter sentencing. It worked. Gerald only served 3 months. He would face more charges as time went on. The cruelty in Pell's record didn't stop there. Pell later set up a program called the Melbourne Response that allowed the Catholic Church to deal with victims the way it wanted to. According to journalist David Marr, Pell objected to Australia having a commission that would investigate the history of sex abuse in Australia. It is far easier to delegitimize the history of clergy sexually abusing minors if there is no commission or investigation. For not advocating for a commission, Pell was making it obvious that he didn't care about abuse victims. He was actively undermining those in Australia who defended victims and their cause. Pope Francis had become Pope in 2013. And even though he promised that he would hold priests accountable who did not care about the well-being of those hurt, he never reprimanded Pell for his cruelty to victims. Instead, Pope Francis promoted Pell, making him one of his personal advisors in the Vatican. This happened around the start of his papacy in 2014, but like many Americans, I was oblivious to this at the time. Francis was displaying a serious lack of competence. He said it was important to support abuse victims, rather than the priests who suppressed them, but he was not practicing what he preached. He took the side of the priests over the abuse victims. The media should have called him out for this. Overall, Francis was being portrayed as a model for morality and as a good man by the media, though he was protecting corrupt priests. In 2014, I was networking with a man who would eventually try to silence and shame me for talking about it.